Good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning, and I'm your wake up call. But the question is whether the president will have a wake up call. Less than 7 days away from the election night, or approximately 7 days, the push for executive orders are needed more than ever. As amid bad news across the board for this president this morning, stock market crashing, COVID-19 cases ramping out of control, corporate earnings to be reported this week and not expected to be good. The new poll numbers show the president substantially far behind, with Wall Street predicting a Democratic sweep of both the House, Senate, and the presidency. So will the president wake up? And if he doesn't, what about the Purple Power Caucus? What are we doing to prepare for bigger, bolder stimulus in the days to come? It's great, exciting news. We're teed in and we got our coffee ready. This is a great Monday morning of Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad that you have joined me for an exciting Monday morning. You got through the weekend, you're finally here. And thank you for tuning in for Early Mornings LA, which really was an exciting, well-watched, and a lot of fun broadcast. This is Mornings LA, and it's followed by 28 at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, which follows the last 28 days before the presidential election, which is now just about a week away. If you've not subscribed and become part of this community, please do. No one is keeping you up to date with more than 5 hours of programming every day, all across the day, covering all the major issues to get you stimulus and to get you financially strong. Go to the Funds channel, subscribe, because with this, you will get empowered, you will get motivated, and you will get information like on any other channel that is out there. Also, hit the alert button so you get alert when a new video goes live. Meantime, like this video, which you have done. Early Mornings LA, once again, is ranking #1 this morning, so let's keep it up throughout the day. The details which I will be going over in this report are much of what you expected based upon my reporting last night and my reporting on Early Mornings LA. I initially told you that the Dow Jones Futures, the stock market, was predicting a 100-point drop at its opening. Now it's predicting a 400-point drop. The Dow Jones Industrial Average traded down 400 points at its opening, more than 1% to start the morning. I'll have explanation of why that is, why it's tied to COVID, why it's tied to stimulus, and why it's tied to this president's inability to wake up and do something now. Next, I will be going over why all eyes are on Wall Street over the next 7 days, because there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening, and a lot of stuff will determine whether you have a job, whether you don't have a job, or whether someone will wake up in Congress or the presidency to send out stimulus. There's a lot of economic data coming out this week, and I'm going to have it all ready for you, so get out a pen and paper. This is incredible, great news, and I just hopefully get it all in this short broadcast. And then finally, new poll numbers this morning that suggest this president is not realizing the situation. He is dramatically behind in all the polls, all the national polls, all the swing state polls, and by this account, Wall Street is now predicting a Democratic sweep, which is not the focus of this channel. The focus of this channel is, what does that mean for your stimulus? What does this mean for your financial security? When can you start getting money in your pocket if everything goes to Democratic on election night? I'm going to have those details and more. All right, I'm so excited. I'm glad you joined me. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is Wall Street. Wall Street is the single leading indicator of this president's determination to give you stimulus, and Wall Street's not doing well. It is down 400 points. It's down 400 points not because of stimulus, but because of COVID-19 cases. Absolutely, categorically out of control. A new Johns Hopkins report issued on Saturday said that the Friday and Saturday numbers for new COVID-19 contractions in the United States are at 83,000, the highest record daily reporting ever since the pandemic started, surpassing the July number of 77,000. What does this mean for your stimulus? What it means for your stimulus is, first of all, they're very concerned that Democratic-run states and some Republican-run states will announce lockdowns. Lockdowns will mean no jobs. Lockdowns will mean no money. Lockdowns will mean questions about whether they're going to issue eviction moratoriums or not. In the last lockdown, for example, California issued eviction moratoriums. You did not have to pay utilities, and you did not have to pay your gas or water and things like that. But will they do this again? That's the big question. Third, the big other issue is your health, your safety. The new data today is making Wall Street skitty. And what Wall Street does, the president sees. No more than any other president in its term, Donald Trump gauges your economic stimulus decisions based upon the performances of Wall Street. And the performances of Wall Street are down 400%, more than 1%. That's the Dow Jones. The S&P down 1%, and the Nasdaq down 8.8%. Less than 1% at the opening. And this is amid the 83,000 new COVID-19 cases. It's compounded by a lot of statements over the weekends that did not resonate well with the same analysts on Wall Street, which was Mark Meadows saying, you know what, there's this thing called COVID, and we'll never finish it. Then there was a statement by Mike Pence that says, people can show up to my rallies. I won't be wearing a mask. They won't be wearing a mask. And 4 members of my crew, my staff, including my chief of staff, just tested positive. So what? It's that type of non-response to the virus that is causing Wall Street to be concerned. Why should you be concerned? Because ultimately businesses will close. Ultimately businesses will close their doors. Ultimately hazard pay frontline workers will determine, am I going to get paid more money? The pandemic is ravaging again. Am I going to get that additional hazard pay? How about unemployment assistance? When I first launched this channel on April 25th, on April 28th, 3 days later, was launching PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, and one of the qualifications for PUA was you were unable to get to your place of work because of the pandemic, because of a lockdown. Another one was you were unable to work because you had COVID-19. Another one after that was that you were unable to work because a family member had COVID-19. Wow, as we sit here today, 83,000 people are now qualified potentially for PUA today if they're independent contractors. And the number could grow to 200,000 a day, a new report worries. This is amid big concerns. Chief Market Strategist at Miller Tablet, Matt Malley, says the new news is fueling a significant downturn over the next week and a half. This is the last week before the presidential election. So will the president wake up and do executive orders? You're owed stimulus checks. Everyone wants to give you stimulus checks. The question is how much stimulus checks, and the question is how long. Let me get to that detail before I go into more economic data. Nancy Pelosi, Steve Mnuchin, Mark Meadows, Donald Trump. Everyone wants to give you a stimulus check, but no one has given you a stimulus check. Why? Why have you not gotten a stimulus check, and what's going on? Let me back up because I may have some new viewers. This channel talks about not just when you're going to get the stimulus check, but also why you have not gotten it. If you're tuning in to find out is the check on its way, it's not on its way. If you're wanting to know how much is the check, there is no agreement on the amount of the check. If you're wanting to know when would there agreement on the check and how would I get the check, the question is, are you part of the Purple Power family? What is Purple Power? Purple Power is a community that I created for this channel called Purple Power. I created a community which I named Purple Power to describe the people of this community which are economic activists that say, hey, we're owed money. We're owed money and you're not giving us money. These are people like you. They're people like me. They're husband and wives and single moms and retirees that say, you know what, I'm entitled to stimulus. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I don't see partisan on this issue. This is an issue of my financial livelihood. I'm owed money. And so what have been the options for the stimulus check, and why are those options not being done, and how much should you be asking? The options that have lastly been done were $1,200 for all individual adults, whether you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, railroad benefits, or veterans benefits, whether you're an adult dependent or not an adult dependent. $1,200 for all adults were proposed by the Republican negotiator, Donald Trump's cabinet member, Steve Mnuchin of the Treasury. Nancy Pelosi's offer for that is $1,200 for adults only if you're not a dependent, and if you are a dependent, only $500. That doesn't work. I'll explain to you in a second why it doesn't work. Next, Steve Mnuchin for children $1,000. Nancy Pelosi for children, $500. How about multiple stimulus checks? No. These people want to give you one stimulus check. How about a bigger stimulus check? No. These people don't want to give you a bigger stimulus check. So why is this going on? And what is happening here? What's happening here is that Wall Street is looking at the situation and say, we could have more lockdowns. We could have more lockdowns. And guess what? More lockdowns mean loss of work, inability to make rent. And you know what it means for this viewers of this channel? Another lockdown means you're owed more stimulus checks. And you haven't been paid the stimulus checks from the last lockdown. Julian Emanuel, head of equities and derivatives at BTIG, says for some of these stocks that have run a long way, the bar for these stocks is still in question. We've offered compromises to the speaker on a number of issues, and it's still dug in, said Steve Mnuchin on Friday. If she wants a compromise, there still will be a deal. We've made a lot of progress in a lot of areas, but there's still significant areas we're working through. The question is, why are your stimulus checks being held up? No one understands that narrative. It's been a muted reaction to overall earnings, says Leo Gorosky, Chief Investment Officer at Mellon Wealth. I'm so disappointed in Fundamental Focus that the stimulus saga seems to be what it is about day in, day out, hour by hour. It's a stimulus saga, the election looming, and the COVID resurgence. Those three things have made it a big issue. So they're saying that on Wall Street, they're unable to feel comfortable with the lack of stimulus passed, the COVID resurging, and the uncertainty about the election. We're experiencing a little bit of calm before the storm, but I do think we're going to see some big daily moves, some big drops in Gorski. I think the market's growing increasingly uncomfortable with the cleaner result, and that could mean more taxes. What we've seen large and short is a volatility, and that the market could go way down way quickly. Ultimately, you're not worried about what stocks are trading at. You're worried about your stimulus. And what the president needs to get keyed in is that the stock market's going to crash. It is crashing, and it'll continue to crash. And that no interim incumbent president has ever been reelected if the stock market is down collectively in the month of September and October. So as you sit here today, what about your stimulus? Well, if you did not join me over the weekend, I launched Purple Power Caucus. What is Purple Power Caucus, and what does this mean? The viewers of this channel, Purple Power, have been able to get incredible results during the stimulus negotiations because of my recordings. Because of my recordings and empowering viewers and motivating them and telling them this is what you should be doing on social media, this is the message you should be sending to the elected officials, those elected officials have moved. There have been movements across the board. They've gotten them to vote against Nancy Pelosi in her last stimulus bill. They've gotten Steve Mnuchin to go up on state and local from 100 to 300 billion. They've gotten Steve Mnuchin to go higher on stimulus checks. They've gotten Steve Mnuchin to adopt the Problem Solvers bill. They've gotten a lot of progress, but the progress has still not gotten a stimulus check in our hands. So what are we doing right now? Well, as the new report says, there is a concern that everything could go Democratic on election night. But we're not concerned about this. Why? Because of the Purple Power Caucus. Hundreds of thousands of viewers overnight tuned into this channel and all yesterday and started raising concerns and voicing their concerns as part of the Purple Power Caucus. First one, hashtag Purple Power check. These are people who demand a bigger stimulus check. They don't think $1,000 is going to cut it. They don't think $1,200 is going to cut it. And they don't think going into a pandemic resurgent with new lockdowns that a stimulus check arriving now in October is going to cover them to December. You see I'm wearing a jacket. You see it's cold. You see winter's coming on. You see there could be lockdowns. Why are you getting one stimulus check to carry you all the way to December when you're still getting paid for, you're still waiting for payment for the last lockdown? Next, hashtag Purple Power FPUC. With these new reports that are coming out today and all this week, earnings reports from everyone from Twilio to Hasbro. Tomorrow, there's earnings reports from GE and Boeing. All these major companies, you understand who they are, UPS. There's concerns there could be major lockdowns from these companies, or shutdowns, or layoffs in the coming months, and those could cause more unemployment. Well, are you getting FPUC? No. Had they approved FPUC? No. Where are they on FPUC? Steve Mnuchin has not changed. Nancy Pelosi has not changed. Ultimately, You have got to not a penny of change. You've been sitting around since FPUC expired in late July, and none of these people have been able to get it into your pockets. FPUC expired in late July. It was at $600 a week at that time. It went on top of UI and went on top of PUA. Millions of viewers of this channel every day ask me, how about the extension of my benefits? My UI benefits weeks are running out. My PUA benefits are running out. This is an additional problem, which these people haven't even gotten to. But on the issue of enhanced unemployment benefits, that money is owed to you, and yet they haven't gotten it done. So where are we? Where are we, the Purple Power Caucus on FPUC? Hashtag Purple Power FPUC. Viewers of this channel have been on Twitter. They have been on Twitter and very loud and vocal in the last 24 hours, and they're saying, this is how much we're owed for FPUC. This is how retroactive it should be, and this is how far forward it should go. My opinion, this is my opinion, you can vocalize your own. It should be retroactive to the day in which FPUC expired, like July. It should go all the way to the future until mid-January or late January or early February. It shouldn't stop on New Year's Eve. Third, it should land somewhere between $400 and $600 a week. Next, Purple Power Hazard Pay. As we see the earnings reports that are coming out this week, a lot of these companies employ essential workers. Tomorrow will be Pfizer, Aflac, Chubb, JetBlue. These are some of the companies that are reporting earnings tomorrow. These are all employers of essential workers. Wednesday, you see Gilead, Ford, UPS reporting earnings. These are all frontline workers. On Thursday, Avis and Budget, and ConocoPhillips. These are all employers of frontline workers. Are they going to pay your hazard pay? No. So is the federal government going to pay your hazard pay? They should. It was in the stimulus bill. It was taken out by Nancy Pelosi. The Republicans never want to give you hazard pay. So what should you be demanding for hazard pay? Hashtag Purple Power Hazard Pay. It's with that we go to the last issue we start this morning, which is, and on which I'll cover more on 28, is the new polls. The new polls show that the president is losing this election. He is very far behind in the popular vote and very far behind in the Electoral College. The Electoral College is defined by the swing states, and the president is not doing well in the swing states. Yes, he has improved slightly, but his improvement is so far behind that with 1 week to go, it doesn't look like he can catch up. These are the swing state results as of this morning. Arizona, Trump is down 6%, 6 points. Florida, Trump is behind 5 points. Michigan, Trump is behind 7 points. North Carolina, Trump is behind 3 points. Pennsylvania, Trump is behind 2 points. And Wisconsin, Trump is behind 8 points. Now, every single person will say, well, some polls are wrong, and they were wrong before. And some polls have said that Trump is up a little bit in 2 states. But with polls that's significant, that show 8 percentage points shifts, that's far outside the margin of error. Even if Trump catches up to Biden in the polls by November 3rd, says CNBC Today, it may be too late because mail-in voting has been going on, and as of Thursday, more than 45 million Americans have voted. The question is whether this president's going to wake up. Ultimately, if he doesn't want to do executive orders between now and Election Day, that is his decision, because Purple Power Caucus is going to be already aligned. We're going to be speaking to our congressmen. We're going to be speaking to the people who are coming in. We're going to say, we need more stimulus. This is not going to cut it. We're empowered. We're here. And we're going to get through this in the new day. Go to the front of the channel, subscribe. Subscribe, because in a day in which you see the wind picking up, you see it's cold as hell out here, I'm trying to get you the most amount of news in the quickest time possible so you're inspired, motivated, and educated about where your stimulus is. I really appreciate the positivity, the wonderful, kind messages that I got overnight. It was absolutely inspiring. Also, like this video. Coming up, of course, is 28 at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully the wind will settle down. Hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer there, but hopefully you'll join me for that recording as well. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay alive for more.